My name is Stephanie, and this is This Reader's Life. I'm glad that you're here. Welcome or welcome back, as the case may be. And today is Tag Tuesday, and I always love Tag Tuesday because I love doing tags, and I like tagging others. I think it's a good way to sort of broaden your experience on BookTube, and I like that. That's exciting. Lots of different connections and new connections, opportunities like that. I like that a lot. And so I was tagged this time by Pat at BookChatWithPat, and this is an original tag that is from Alan at AlansReads. And I don't know, it is sort of in honor of March on the Rails, and I don't know exactly what March on the Rails is. It's a BookTube event of some kind, but this tag is called the train tag. And at first I thought I'm not going to be able to do it because I don't know a thing about trains, and I haven't ridden on a lot of trains, and I don't read about a lot of trains. But it specifically says in the instructions that the responses don't have to name trains, anything to do with trains specifically. So I decided that it sounded like a bunch of fun. And so I'm going to go ahead and just get started. There's 8 questions here, and then number 9, of course, is to tag some people, and I will do that below. I'm always happy to do that. So I'm going to get started, put my glasses on because I cannot see without them, and let's get started. Number 1 is the Great Railway Bazaar, a book featuring an epic journey. And the very, very first thing that I thought of was The Grapes of Wrath, because what an epic journey they took during those Depression years and the Death Bowl years from Oklahoma to California. I cannot imagine starting out on that kind of a journey with a car that barely runs or not a car, but a vehicle that barely runs and little or no resources. What a journey! What an epic journey! And then the other one I thought of is a little different in as far as a journey, but it is a journey and it is epic, and that is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, and that's part of the Outlander series that she has written. I think her 10th book is going to come out soon, but in that first one, and then periodically throughout, Claire, the female protagonist in the first book, travels through time, and she goes from post-World War II, I think Scotland, to Jacobean Scotland. So she is traveling through centuries, and she does that in a stone circle that she goes to, and when she places her hands on the stone, she goes through. And I enjoyed those books so much when I was reading them several years ago. I haven't kept up on the last few, but anyway, that's another epic journey to me, which is that traveling through time. The next one the next question is Brief Encounter, Still Life, a brief or short book you could read while waiting for a train. And I thought immediately of a short one that I read recently, which was 84 Charing Cross Road by Helene Hanff, which is doesn't have anything to do with trains. It's about a woman in New York City who writes letters back and forth with an antique bookstore in London, and it is epistolary. It's written entirely, the entire story is told through letters. It's a true story, and but it is fairly short, about 130 pages, and it is an easy read. The language is not difficult, and it would be enjoyable to read sitting in a train station. I think it would certainly keep you busy for a while you wait for the train. So number 3 is my biggest failure on this whole list, is Bradshaw's Guide, a guidebook to a favorite place or thing. And I don't think I own a guidebook to anywhere. The only thing that I have, and I guess it says self-guiding, is my husband and I like to travel. We like to go and hike. We haven't done this for quite some time, but we have always enjoyed hiking in the Ozarks of Arkansas. And one of the places that we've gone many times is to Devil's Den. It is a state park in Arkansas. up at the north end of Arkansas. And this is just a little book that that you can pick up while you're there. That is, what does it say? History and Self-Guiding Tour of the Upper Lee Creek Valley and Devil's Den State Park. And it shows, it just tells you a little bit about the park itself, and gives you some self-guided information if you want to drive around the park, or for some of the trails that you can hike there. I think there's 7 or 8 trails, but they also have wonderful old cabins that were built by the CCC. I believe that's the Civilian Conservation Corps during the WPA period, during the Depression, or as the Depression was, as we were coming out of the Depression. But anyway, that's my guidebook. That's what I have that I can show you. The next question is number 4, Breakheart Pass, a romance novel or Western, and bonus points for a romantic Western. And I get all the points on this one because, well, the first one that I thought of, because I don't read a lot of Westerns, but I did read True Grit, which was Charles Portis wrote that, and it's a wonderful story. Most people have at least heard of it through the movie, but it's a great story. I would not call it a romance. It is, in a way, it is definitely a love story, but it is not a romance. The other one that I remembered when I was trying to think of a Western that actually might have been a romance, and it was, is a book, and this is a little obscure, so it might be something new. It's certainly worth reading. It is called The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing, and it was written by a woman named Marilyn Durham, and I don't know that she wrote much after that, but she was a housewife who apparently complained about the way stories were being written, or books were being written, and someone said to her, well, then why don't you write one of your own? And she did. So it was Marilyn Durham is her name, and the name of the book is The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing, and it involves, you sort of know at the very beginning that it is about some outlaws who are robbing a train, and one of the outlaws who is involved has had a great loss in his life, a great love loss in his life. And at the same time, it is also about the female protagonist who is there at the time of the train robbery by accident because she's running away from an abusive husband. And so it does turn into a romance between the gentleman who has lost, he's actually lost the name of the woman that he loved was Cat Dancing. She was a Native American. And then his relationship with this new woman who is running away from an abusive husband. So The Man Who Loved Cat Dancing, it's a very well written book, and I enjoyed it a lot, and it meets all the criteria, so I was kind of excited about that. The next one is a beloved children's book, and for me, the most beloved children's books for me were the ones by Laura Ingalls Wilder, the Little House books, which she wrote about her own life growing up in several different places in the United States, but on the prairie in almost every incident. And in The Long Winter, which is it's about the 5th or 6th book in the series, they have a very long, hard winter, and one of the things that they are waiting for in the book is a train, because they're waiting for supplies. It's been such a horrific winter in South Dakota that the tracks are blocked by huge amounts of snow. They can't get it dug out before the next blizzard comes, and not them specifically, but the people who take care of trains. And so they are running out of supplies, the people in this small town that they are living in at that time. So that is, and the Little House books are beloved by children, and have been for a really long time. So that's the one that I thought of that I think involves a train and is a beloved book. So the number 6 is The Signalman, a ghost story or horror novel. And I do not read horror. It works way too well on me. It gives me the creeps. I think I tried to read The Exorcist years and years ago, and it was not a good idea. But the ghost story that I thought of is A Christmas Carol, because I did read that. And then a horror novel that I read. I have read some Stephen King, and most of the time, if I know going in that it's going to be have anything supernatural or anything that is horror, I won't choose to read it. But years ago, I did read The Tommyknockers, and that is definitely a horror novel, and I certainly enjoyed it. Stephen King writes so well that I can almost forgive him for not for writing horror stories, but not quite. I just can't quite read them. But anyway, that's what I came up with for number 6, and for number 7. Strangers on a Train, a new book that you hope to read this year. And it doesn't have to have been published this year. And the book that, and again, this happened yesterday, I discovered or was reminded of, I don't know how to put that, but I was watching something on, probably on TV, and I heard about a book that I have known was around for a long time, but I've certainly never read. And it's Look Homeward, Angel by Thomas Wolfe. And I read just the very, very beginning, sort of like an introduction to the book, and thought it was so lovely. And knew that the book was published in 1929, and I've not read anything by Thomas Wolfe. He didn't have a huge, well, he had a couple of bestsellers, and then I think he had a lot of short stories. But so that is the book, Look Homeward, Angel. I just think that the title is beautiful in and of itself. So that is the one that I am hoping to read this year. I plan to read that. And number 8, The Mystery of the Blue Train, a book with a color in the title or on the cover. And the book that I chose for that is The Red Tent. It's been around for a few years, and it was written by Anita Diamond, and it is a story told about women in biblical times and a rule or tradition of the time, which was that during a certain time of every month for women, they separated themselves from the rest of their society that they were living in, and during that, usually about a week, they would stay in the red tent. And so the story is about sort of what happens in the red tent, because it's there that they form kind of sort of a sacred community, and it's really lovely. And so that is what that story was about. It's a biblical tradition that I certainly didn't know. I believe it was part of Jewish law, but I don't know that for a fact. But they did separate themselves from the rest of the people in their village or society, and I enjoyed that book a lot. So again, that was The Red Tent by Anita Diamond. And so then the very last one is Tag Others, which I will do that below. It's fun to tag others. It's fun to be tagged. And again, it's a great way to make connections on BookTube. I'm fairly new at this, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And it's just one of my favorite things. I'm just way overexcited about Tag Tuesday. But at any rate, all of you, until we see each other again, please be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to the planet, and be blessed. Have a good day.